feels more professional.
Act like we've done this before.
You gotta do the bunny suit dance like the Intel commercials.
What is the bunny suit dance?
It's like old commercials from the.
Is it?
You never know. You don't want no skin.
Yeah. It's like, but they wear like glitzy bunny suits.
You can do this one.
This is the cream of the crop of Miami right here.
We got CTO Miami. We got CTO Mana Winwood.
You got a CTO Bionium clean room.
You guys are never gonna run for political office after this video.
No, there's too many things out there.
Yeah, no, actually I feel great. I feel so protected. Oh, this is like the smell just like my face. Oh no, that's the outfit.
Yeah, that's the outfit.
All right, gentlemen.
Dude, why are you wearing glasses?
I don't know. I saw glasses that just felt like I'm gonna protect it all.
All right, this is what's known as a sputter system. This is a metallization tool. Each one of these guns holds a target. The target can be anything from a metal, a semiconductor, to an insulator. Very much like this here. This is actually a silicon target. What happens is you can you create a plasma on the inside, which is just energetic ions. The energetic ions bombard the surface of this material, pops the atoms off of the material, and then it will recondensate on another substrate. So, as an example, you can see here there's some pieces of sample. These are silicon wafers, and they have like a nitride layer on them. You can tell it's nitride, or maybe it might be an oxide based upon the color of the silicon. Magnesium oxide. So a great example of what can be done is you can create a mirror with aluminum or silver, and then you can coat glass with aluminum or silver, and create like a mirror. One side will be shiny, the other side will be dull.
So you could like coat things.
Yeah, it's really what it is. And
it's a coater. It's like a nano coater.
Exactly. Anywhere from angstroms to microns. Actually.
So with this, technically, if we take silicone and carbon, or maybe graphite, then we could create graphene.
So
in an industrial way.
So graphene is usually like a CVD process, a chemical vapor process, where there's a heat involved and
this doesn't generate heat.
It does, but in a different way. So it doesn't create the type of temperatures I think you need to create a graphene layer.
Well, yeah, you need 5,000 degrees.
I don't know what the temperature is. I think it's
carbon.
I don't know.
Carbon temperature.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. So other tools we have here, this is what's known as a ICP RIE, which stands for inductively coupled plasma reactive ion etcher. So you take a bulk material, you stick it in here, it creates a reactive ion plasma, which interferes with the surface of the material that you're trying to etch.
Gotcha.
And it'll pull it on. This one that you're looking into now, this is a PECVD, Plasma Enhanced Chemical Vapor Deposition, meaning that you introduce gas species, it reacts with, or the plasma reacts with this gas species, breaks it apart, and then redistributes it on the surface of whatever you're trying to deposit upon. So you can get nice things like nitride layers or oxide layers.
So with this, you can analyze aluminum.
With this, you can deposit.
So you could create a deposit of, let's say if you want to build aluminum nitrate, would you be able to create a sample with that?
If aluminum nitride is a compound that's possible, I don't know. It could be done in a system like this, yes.
And this one is
No. Good guess though. This one is another deposition tool. It uses this polymer Parylene C particularly. You put this Parylene C in a chamber, it heats up in this vacuum system, and then it deposits uniformly everything inside the vacuum system.
And then you wrap the deposits?
It acts more as a packaging layer or a protective layer to prevent any moisture or anything from damaging the surface of whatever you have. So if you had a logic chip that you just produced and you wanted to protect it with some type of insulator that will prevent, humidity from
like
affecting.
silicone would do.
Right. So.
Right?
Right. Silicone would do well. Yeah. Silicone could do.
Could do.
Could do. I don't know. Possibly. Again,
Except this doesn't have to dry, and
no,
you just put it there and it's done.
You put it in there. It's a polymer. It heats up. It evaporates, and it condensates on the entire surface of everything that's inside of this vacuum chamber, and you get a very conformal layer. So it acts as like a packaging material protector.
So who uses this facility?
So anybody from the University of Miami uses this facility. Other academia uses this facility. People from FIU, FAU. It's open to all academia. It's also open to industry users as well. So if there's anybody in industry that needs metallization or reactive ion etching or atomic force microscopy or SEM imaging or photolithography processing, they can all come here and utilize this facility. Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the official name of this lot?
This is Bionium, BIONIUM, Bio Nano Initiative, University of Miami, something of that nature. Right. So yeah, if you notice, there's no windows in here. So after hours and hours of working in here, I'd like to know what it looks like outside. So every once in a while, I put on the Earth Cam of Miami.
Wow.
Oh, I see.
That's awesome.
Right? And it gives me a little window into what's going on. A little
You might as well
window.
be in a space station.
Right? Exactly. So
You can't go back to Earth.
no, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's raining outside sometimes. I don't know if it's dark outside. I don't
Yes,
know if
you
it's
do.
light outside. So I open up University.
I'm sure people at NASA would like to know your experience for Mars missions.
Right? No, I'm sure they know. So you can see it's dark out wherever it is, wherever this is. I think this is the beach. But you can come down here to actually let's take a look at downtown and see what downtown is. Look how beautiful downtown is.
Look at that.
That is downtown Miami. How beautiful is that?
You got the best views in town, man.
I'm
What are
telling
talking
you.
about?
It's freezing though, but yeah, tonight.
Yeah, so this here is an atomic force microscope. What this does is it uses basically a little needle that's atomically sharp, down to like 10 nanometers or even greater, depending on how much money you're willing to spend. And what it does, it'll sit there and it'll scan a surface for you, and it'll recreate the surface in angstrom resolution.
And then this mouse? Is
This
it three-dimensional?
This particular mouse is virtual. This is not actually here. You don't actually see this.
I see your hand passing through it.
Right. So I understand the virtuality of this not being here.
Right.
So
It's like, does this push down and up with this mouse?
this I'll show you in here.
Oh, okay.
So this is actually the atomic force microscope itself. This is the scan head right here. Inside here is a piezo tube that has very high resolution capability of moving in the Z direction and high resolution and moving in the XY direction. And this will allow you to come by and do what's known as atomic force microscope. There's different techniques to atomic force microscope. But what it does is, like I said over here, it'll scan very small surfaces, and it'll recreate three-dimensionally rendering of what it's actually scanning over.
So, like, what are the last few things you would have scanned on here? Or someone would have scanned on here? What kinds of things?
So somebody has graphene nanoparticles, and they're doing experimentation with graphene nanoparticles, and they wanted
talking
to.
about graphene. It's like
It's like a thing,
I have
yeah.
nothing to say about graphene, but good things. So graphene. So he wanted to characterize the typical diameter of the graphene nanoparticles. So in order to do that, you stick it in here and you just scan back and forth, and you can determine what the sizes of these nanoparticles are. You know, or even to verify whether or not they are nano, because sometimes people will make claims that they're nanoparticles and they could be in the upwards of microns, and so you know you have to validate everything that you do. This is a wire bonder. So let's say you make a device. Let's say you make a chip, right? And this chip has a sensor on it. Maybe it's a temperature sensor. You know, so basically two wires of dissimilar metals come together. Right, and you have to pull this out.
I mean, that's the wire monitor? Or?
This is a wire bonder, right? Okay, so a thermocouple is really just two wires, dissimilar metals that come together, and they create a tiny little voltage differential, and depending on the temperature, that voltage differential changes, right? So you put this on a chip. Now you have this chip, but what do you do with this chip? Well, you have to put this chip in a package, right? And the package is basically those old school pins that you saw that you plug into the computer boards back in the 80s and 90s and what have you. So what do? You have to wire bond from your chip to that package. That's what this tool does here. This right here is gold wire. This is the wire that's used to do the packaging. This wire is about 1/10 the diameter of a human hair. Wow. The way it bonds that wire is it goes through this ceramic capillary. So this tube here is hollow. That wire goes through that tube, and what it does, it ultrasonicates really high frequencies. And that ultrasonication, when it makes contact to the metallic surface, it melts the gold into it reflows the gold into the metal pads, and that's how it makes the connection. It's actually quite cool.
Wow.
This is a class 100 clean room. So this is 10 times cleaner than the clean room that we're coming from.
All of these are HEPA.
Every single one of these tiles is a HEPA filter.
So why is it yellow light?
All right, so why is it yellow light? That's a good question. It's yellow light because this is a photolithographic process is occurring here. Photolithographic process uses a polymer called photoresist. Photoresist is
the difference in between blue rays and yellow rays.
It's sensitive to the ultraviolet regime, right? So the yellow, these filters block out that ultraviolet regime.
It's the same as the effect in your phone. The blue filter.
I have my blue filter on right now.
Right? Do you have to do
So
it?
it's extra yellow. It's yellow on top of yellow.
Because I'm blue. Okay. So, in a typical photolithographic process, you would start with something that's known as a mask, right? And generally, a mask in this particular, this is for contact lithography. This is the glass. This is glass. It's just glass. On the back side of this glass, back side of this glass is a thin chrome layer, probably about 100 nanometers, 110 nanometers in thickness, just enough to block out the light.
So basically, most sunglasses, polarized sunglasses, are done with this machine.
I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't know about sunglasses. I know that they do have thin layers on them. Polarization, it's
Different?
yeah. I'm not strong on my polarization.
Because this looks very much like Oakley or...
Yeah, no. So the polarization, we really want to. I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
Because I'm not knowledgeable in that particular regime. But really, all this is a glass, like any window, and it has a thin layer of chrome on it. And then on the back side of that chrome is something known as photoresist. I was just talking about. It's a polymer, and this is a liquid that you can drip on, spin this at high speeds, and then you get a really conformal layer of this polymer on the back side of it. So you take something like this and you can put it in this machine here, which is known as a mask maker. And what this does is it rosters back and forth really slowly, and it shines laser on the parts where you make a design. So an example of a design.
Essentially, this is kind of like a PCB, a laser PCB maker, kind of, for glass.
Kind of, right? So this is a CAD design that we came up with for a high school that was deciding to visit us, and so we made this for them. You know, we put their names in the U. We have the University of Miami here. We have our facility, the Bionium, and the name of the school here with their little crescent in there, just to you know, Sure. So what this does then is it comes by, it shines laser in this pattern back and forth on this polymer, and then that polymer, once it sees the laser light, it gets soluble. So you put in this stuff called developer, just like old school. Yeah, just like old school imagery, like for a photographer. Yeah. So you put it in this developer, and it rinses away all the polymer that has been touched by that laser
So
light.
just like PCB processing.
Yes, exactly. PCB processing, exactly. Yeah, except for this has like 2 micron resolution capability, right?
Yeah.
So once you rinse away the polymer that's protecting that chrome layer, then you put it in a chrome etching, and it etches away the chrome and exposes the glass.
So that's acid.
Yes, it can be an acid, yes. It doesn't have to be, but yeah, typically usually is. So then you come up with...
So then it's clean. So with this, you could make amazing touchscreen hologramic displays, all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff.
You could do creative stuff with this too,
Yeah,
basically.
absolutely.
Just you can't use it creatively here.
You can.
Can you? Well, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
And you notice that I can see the names are
Yes.
also on here. Is that
Yeah,
what
so the
that-
names are
Very
also in there.
cool. Can you see it?
Yeah. Awesome. So how long did it take you to do this?
So it took me a while to come up with this design because I was new to taking an image from the internet and turning it into kind of a black and white, and then turning it into something that can be recognized by the computer as either this or that, right? So it took me a while to learn how to do this, but once I got it down, it's kind of fun.
That's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
The definition in this thing is not even funny.
That is really. Look at the text on that.
And plus, that there is text in the U.
I know, that's what I was looking at. There's
That you
text
need
in
a
the U.
magnifier to figure. Do you have a magnifier here, like an eye magnifier, so that we can
See the detail, right? No, I got it.
We've got a microscope here if you want to see.
Yeah, that's even better.
But
So how does this air filtration here work?
It's wild, man.
so all these tiles, all these HEPA filters are pressurized. Each one of these tiles actually has a small fan above it, and it pushes air down into this room. And the reason this room is constantly clean is not only is the air coming in being filtered, but anything that's creating particulate in this room is being pushed out of these vents
So
along the
it's
side of the wall.
positive pressure?
This is
So
positively pressurized.
that's sucking out the air, and not
That's the-
pushing it in. Upstairs.
Well, yeah, so this is pushing it out. And I don't think it's technically sucking it out. It's just a place for air to vacate.
Non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
It's great to be him because he's like out of risk, out of craziness.
This is another pattern that I came up with. You notice everything on this is backwards, right? So that when you actually take it and flip it over, it'll be in the positive direction.
Sebastian.
Sublimation.
Right? Sebastian University, the U, the Bionium, this is what we are.
So this is like perfect, like little survival shelter because you got the webcam to see if there's an attack, like a bio attack.
I like
and you can be safe in here.
You can definitely film.
Yeah, I would be safe in
this
here
is
for
good
here, for sure.
This is definitely a place
see
we
all
could
the-
shoot a movie.
You see all the zombies
Yeah.
roaming around outside.
We could be shooting a movie.
You'd be the last man on Earth or last man in Miami.
So what I was explaining before, right? You create a mask. In this case, this is another type of mask that we designed, right? And these are just electrodes. And these electrodes, you take this mask, you take a silicon wafer, which would be blank like this. You spin photoresist on it. You come over to this tool, which is a mask liner. You put this on top of it. You shine UV light. Whatever the UV light hits, again, gets rinsed away. You take it in one of the metallization tools. You deposit a thin layer of gold everywhere. Right? Then you come and you rinse off the remaining photoresist that's left over with acetone. And then you're left behind with a pattern, which is the same pattern as this, right? But now this pattern is gold. Now you can't see it from your naked eye, but inside of here is about 100 micron square blank area. Okay? So that blank area,
If I put this under the microscope here, that works?
yes. So let's see, we'll do the 10x, we'll do the 10x. Have at it, my friend. These two knobs here will rotate it X and Y.
Holy shit. This
Those two
is
right
so
there, yeah.
awesome, man. Oh, wow. The vectorial resolution in this, it's like Sofia Gonzalez, Sofia Roy.
These are high school students, so don't spit out
Don't
words
spit
that I
it.
haven't recorded.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Beep. Beep.
Sorry, there's 500.
Wow, this is so cool. So you got everybody's name in there.
Yeah, so it was, it was the first time I had a high school come and do a tour of the cleaning facility. So I wanted to do something a little bit special for them,
This is so cool.
It's like taking rice writing to the next level.
There is some scratches to this.
Yeah, so the masks that aren't, protected, and this was a one-time mask, right? So I just needed it for one.
Oh, you have to sit it. It's really fun.
So if the
Get
mask
outta
isn't
here.
protected, it'll get scratched. The chrome will get scratched, and you'll cause
What,
damage to it.
dude?
This is basically the best way to put in a message for somebody.
Right?
You nanotech the thing,
Some
and
spy
then
shit
you
right
got
here,
basically the best
Well,
message
keep in
you
mind,
could have.
What you're seeing that you can't see with the naked eye, what you can't really read with the naked eye is still in the micron range.
Yeah.
We haven't actually even gotten into the nano yet.
Wow.
So here I was telling you that these electrodes, they have a space in the center. This is that space in the center.
Right.
Wait, so which center is where?
So all those electrodes that you see with the naked eye, in the very center, these are the tips of all those electrodes that you see. So what you have here is about a 20 micron, or maybe actually 30 micron by 30 micron area, right? These wires right here, these wires are 100 nanometers long. So these wires you can't see with that microscope.
It's basically so it's like 100 times smaller than that gold wire.
It's about 10,000 times smaller than that gold wire.
Oh yeah, okay, I missed 2 zeros.
So this is this bar right here is 1 micron, which is 1,000 times smaller than a millimeter, and this is about 10 times smaller than that. This wire. So this is truly in the nano regime. This is about 100 nanometers in diameter.
This is really.
So even when you're looking at that mask, you can't even see that there's a blank spot in here.
Well, I'll tell you that right now. Yep, I can see it. Well, I mean, yeah, what do you mean? You can see there is a center. No, there is.
You're really, really looking for
There is a dot. I mean, there
Well,
is a dot.
there's one that you can see a dot. That's
There
this
is a
one.
dot.
But you can't
Oh,
see.
we're looking at this one now?
Well, you're looking at either one of them.
center.
Either one
Because
of
this
them.
one you see.
You see an empty space in the center of these
Yeah.
electrodes?
I see. Are they all the same or no?
No, so this one and
I
this
see
one is
one there.
different.
Yeah, I
these,
see.
These
a
are
little
actually a
bit.
little
No,
bit different.
I don't see it in the other.
But like
ones. I
here,
only
you
the
see
one.
the empty space.
Yeah, that one you
that's
see.
actually different too.
Right.
The reason you can
There's
see
a couple
these,
of them you can see.
The reason you can see those is because somebody has shined a light on these before it was finished being exposed.
Okay.
So it
didn't print.
What they did was they looked at it in the microscope, exposed the photoresist with the light from the microscope because that light
Oh, so it made a
wasn't
hole.
filtered, and it made a hole. Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
why you can see those. But the ones like this one here, like any of these here,
Yeah, technically you can't. So
No,
yeah,
you-
so it's like it's there.
It's
Obviously
there,
it's
it's
there.
there. But
It's
you
kind of
can-
like when you do, macro whatever, and you're like going bigger and bigger and bigger on your design. You realize, oh, antenna lines actually don't touch.
Right.
You know that?
Exactly. No. That's exactly the case. But here, now here you can see.
Oh wow! Look at that, a Nippon sun. But you do see the 3 wires.
But those aren't nano. They're still micro. There's a different design.
Oh, okay. So there is like 3 poles, and then there is 1 pole that connects 4 of the tags, right?
That's awesome.
So 4 tags, and then there's negative, positive, if you will.
So right. So what you're seeing there, and those beams that are coming out, they're still 2 microns in diameter. They're still 1,000 times. They're still
Just enough.
a couple hundred times larger than what you're seeing now.
Very cool.
Whoa!
It's like, and you see, you literally have 2 inputs. You have 2 outputs, and then you have 4 on the upper part. You have 4 signal wires, and then you have on the lower part you got another 4 signal. So you could have basically A, C, and whatever options, right? Like positive, negative, and then you could have, you know, digital pins and analog pins on this one thing.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So
it all depends on the logic that you have between the pins.
right.
Right.
Just like any chip.
Right.
Except this is not a chip.
This is the precursor to the nano chip. This is how you take the nano chip that you create in that machine out to the real world. So you take it from here, you take it to the micro, to the macro, to the micro, then you take it from the micro to the wire bonder, and you take it out to the push pin.
Got it.
Right?
Wow, dude. This is how it's done.
Now that's just the technology part as far as like solid state.
Yeah, I thought how
sensors and
it's
stuff
done.
like that, right? So there's a whole like biological regime to this that people can come in and image biologicals in here. So
Why are you touching the screen?
It's covering some stuff.
Oh.
anonymity. Yeah.
Anonymity.
Thank you. There you are. All right. So these are bone cells. Bone marrow cells. All right, these are ways
So like,
of looking
I
at
have a
cells that
question.
you
So
would
like
never
with
see
this
before.
microphone here, with this microscope, if we actually take his saliva right now, we would see those bacteria, correct?
Well, we would have to process his saliva. We'd have to get rid of the moisture content of it, because this is a high vacuum system. This is like 10 to the 6, 10 to the 7, 10 to the 8 tour, really high vacuum. So moisture does not like vacuum. It just evaporates out. So we would have to get rid of all the moisture in it and probably wash it with different types of ethanol until we get to 100% ethanol, and then we'd have to dry out the ethanol until we're left with kind of the carcass of whatever cells are in his mouth.
Takes a while.
And then it takes some pre-processing, and then you'd be able to image it like this is a stream of different bone marrow cells, right? And they're all together. And this is, this spacer right here is a 10 micron spacer. So for this bar being 10 microns in diameter, you can see that from here to here is about 10 microns on that cell, right? To go further, you can zoom in on these cells, right? So now that 10 micron bar is much larger, and you can see, much higher resolution of the cells themselves, right? And you can take it a little bit further and zoom in a little bit more. Now you've got a 1 micron bar where the 10 micron bar was, right? So what you're looking at here with these little tiny protrusions, these little tiny tips, you're looking at somewhere between 10 to 100 nanometer tips on these biological cells.
Don't you wish you could reduce yourself to this? This would be so awesome.
What was that?
Like this movie, yeah. Ant-Man or whatever.
No, it was
Yeah,
in the 80s with,
Inner
like,
Space.
Inner Space. minutes.
Oh, yeah.
They grind and it's quick.
And that's not even Nano, man. They should make the Nano version of Interspace. Wow, man. It's really incredible.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I understand why you spent all this time here.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of really blessed with the job that I have and the ability to look at things the way most people never ever get a chance to view them. I'm definitely blessed in that aspect. I'm also blessed in the aspect that I get to help mold the students coming into research and teach them how to utilize the tools and what directions and how to save time in doing their experimental process and really watching them kind of grow into their own scientific being and do their
Find the
experiments.
purpose.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful place to be honest.
And you're getting your PhD as well?
I've just finished the semester. I just defended.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr.
Luongo.
What? Congrats, brother.
Yeah, you're gonna get
That's
an
awesome.
honorary stethoscope.
Thank you.
I got a
It's
hurt
been
elbow, doctor.
10 years in the making. I can't do nothing about your elbow except for maybe kick it. I'm a little bit of a sadist as well. So
I like that. That's my share. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Thanks,
awesome.
man.
no problem, my friend.